amp you up. I got my bark. I've been practicing.
Hi there. This is Ben from Occam Athletics. It's been a while since I've done a video, mostly because my GoPro is out of date and I'm too lazy to take it with me. Also, I now have an Instagram, so I do the phone thing like everybody else. But I did recently just get some interesting footage from a powerlifting meet that Amanda and I both competed in. And I decided to do a video sort of comparing the differences between the two disciplines. So a couple things happened this year leading up to this meet. I have more lifters now interested in general strengthening, powerlifting, things like that. I've sort of been pushing just general strength fitness onto my lifters for a while now. And I think just this year, they've really started to see a benefit from including accessory exercises and general strength tools. And they're starting to be more interested in things besides Olympic weightlifting. Also, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but I've been competing in weightlifting for 12 years now. And, the longer I've been competing, the longer it takes me to sort of ramp back up towards contest condition. So I sort of took this summer to take a break from the lifts. I do take a more seasonal approach towards my programming. I just decided to take it to more of an extreme for my own training. So I've never done a low bar back squat before. I have done bench press, but I tore both my pecs last year, so my shoulders have been problematic. And I've always had a really, really shitty deadlift. So I thought it'd be fun to just take a step back and work on a few things that I'm not good at. Amanda, by contrast, is very, very strong in any sort of raw strength lift. Her best back squat right now is 155 kilos. Best deadlift, 165, and best bench, I believe, is now 80. So she's just naturally very strong, and she's one of those type of lifters that is just like so strong that she doesn't actually get much of a workout from the Olympic lifts because her technique is just a little bit behind. Some of that is just mobility, positional stuff. So it's been fun for me to really get to see her really push going into this meet. Amanda and a few of my other lifters will be competing again this weekend in a deadlift-only meet at the Caffeine & Kilos Invitational. I thought about signing up myself, but I think that it's time I start really focusing on the lifts again if I'm going to be ready to compete in December. Okay, so let's get down to it. The main challenge for me was the length, the actual length of the contest itself, like how long you have to wait between attempts, how long you have to wait between, the different lifts. I am a sort of like load it, lift it type of a dude. I'll load a weight, I'll pace around a few times, and I'll go ahead and take it. So I rest about 2 minutes between each set once it starts to get heavy, and even less when I'm just sort of working up to my target weights. So the main challenge for me was to just like keep from getting bored in between attempts. I'm a very I like to be a more aggressive when I lift. It just makes it fun for me, and it helps me lift heavy. So it's sort of hard for me to be sitting down, resting, and trying to lift heavy, every 10 minutes or so. So I found out that we were the only people there that were actually sort of counting attempts like you would do in a weightlifting meet. I'm sure you know this already, but powerlifting meets are set up so everybody goes through their first attempt, everybody goes through their second attempt, and everybody goes through their third attempt. So we sort of use that to our advantage. It was way easier to count attempts, compared to a weightlifting meet where it's set up, like a weightlifting meet. There's no gaming involved. There's no changes involved. You know exactly where we're going to be lifting once they post the schedule. So, we also seem to be the only people that actually cared, exactly how many attempts we were out. I wasn't really asking what other people were doing, but it seems like people were just sort of waiting for their session to almost start and kind of get warmed up and then go chill until they're called out. Which, hey, if you can do that, do that. But for myself, I decided to take a lift every 4 attempts because the attempts on the platform actually do happen faster than they do in a weightlifting meet. So every 4 attempts seemed to work out pretty well for me. Another difference I saw was the weigh-in process / gear check routine was a lot more involved. You have to check in every single piece of gear you'll be using for the contest itself. So just be prepared if you're going to be cutting weight going into a meet. You're going to be waiting for a while before you're actually able to eat something. So I wouldn't try to cut more than 3 to 5% of your own body weight before going into a meet. I wouldn't try to take out any water, actually, going into a powerlifting meet yet. I cut quite a bit for weightlifting, but I've been doing this for 12 years or so I feel comfortable with the cut. One last thing that was sort of a challenge is every powerlifting federation uses their own set of rules and different equipment. So I actually got used to using one of those really whippy deadlift bars, which are like really good for like boosting your confidence because you could like pull the bar almost to your knee before the weights break off the floor. So it's like a lot softer off the ground. So I actually was pretty conservative when declaring my deadlift attempts. One, because I didn't know how I'd be feeling at the end of the day. And two, because I just didn't know if I'd be able to lift what I normally lift with other equipment. So just be aware of that. If be familiar with what particular federation you want to compete in. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. If you are a weightlifter interested in powerlifting, give it a shot. Jim Schmitz once told me you should try at least one powerlifting meet before you're done, lifting heavy. There's a lot of knowledge to be gained from other strength disciplines. And if you're just sort of bored with weightlifting, like sort of how I am, it's a good way to sort of make lifting fun and exciting to come back to.